Hello everyone and welcome back to a new part on the How to Make a Pet Simulator X style game series. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at how to make an egg hatching system. We're going to be getting started on working on it. So you can get close to an egg, press E, and hatch an egg. Also, if you guys want to support me and want to have access to all of my project files, including the one you're watching right now, the map will be included, the asset pack will be included, and the scripts will be included. They will all be available on my Patreon in the $10 tier. The link will be in the description and in the pinned comment. With that being said, let's start. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is go to view and turn off UI visibility, and I'm going to set up my eggs. I'm only going to set up one egg for now, and I'm going to set up the others in the next tutorial. I'm going to move these somewhere, and I'm going to get this one, and I'm going to position it here. And what I'm going to do is add a folder inside of the workspace, and I'm going to call it eggs. So just add a folder and call it eggs. And I'm going to select my egg, not the entire egg pod and the egg, just select the egg mesh, just this. Make sure that it's only one part, and I'm going to cut it, so Control X, and I'm going to go to the eggs folder and I'm going to paste it in there. And then what I'm going to do is rename this to, for example, basic egg. And I'm going to add a proximity prompt inside of this, and I'm going to make sure that the action text is open or hatch maybe. And I'm going to change the hold duration to 0.2, or maybe just 0.5 maybe. And I'm going to, maybe I can just put it at 0, and I'm going to change the require line of sight property. I'm going to turn that off. And if you play the game now, make sure that your egg is anchored, by the way. So go to home and anchor. If I go ahead and play here, it should display a proximity prompt saying hatch. Okay, so that works. And what I'm going to do now is add a module script, and I'm going to call it data. This is going to be the data for our egg, and I'm going to change this. I'm going to delete everything, and I'm going to put in return and a table. And what we're going to return is the egg name, so egg name, or we don't really need that. We're only going to need the egg price, and it's going to be something like 10, and egg currency, for me it's going to be coins, and I'm going to have egg pets, and that's going to be a table. And now I'm going to put some pets in here, so I'm only going to put a cat for now. So square brackets 1, so the first item on the table. Actually, I'm going to go through some pets, so I'm going to leave the script, and I'm going to drag in the pet pack that I have. So I'm going to go to the toolbox, my models, and just put pet, right, pet, and you should get the pet pack by Lua. Very good. I'll leave a link to this pet pack in the description. It's very, very useful. It has over 100 high quality pets that you can use for free in any of your games. I'm going to choose some of these pets. I'm going to use a cat, which we already have, and I'm going to add a dog, and maybe we're gonna add the, what is this, the fox. Okay, so the fox and the dog, and okay, so the cat is already set up, so we're only going to need the dog and the fox. And I'm going to delete the pet pack, and I'm going to put in the dog and the fox, and I'm going to set them up. So I'm going to get my cat in replicated storage, pets, cat. I'm going to drag it in here, and I'm going to set it up like I've set up the, I'm going to set up the fox and the dog like I've set up the cat. So I'm just going to put it in here. Where? Okay, I'm going to put them here. And as you can see, inside of the cat, we have an attachment position vector3 value, which I'm going to copy and paste inside of the fox and the dog. And we also have a primary part and some weld constraints. and nothing is anchored. Yes, so I'm going to make sure that nothing is anchored in here. And I'm going to add a primary part, so I'm going to add a part. I'm going to change its size to maybe 2, 2, oh, 2, 2, 2. What is this? Okay, size 2, 2, 2. Okay, that works now. I'm just going to resize it correctly. So just something like this. Like that. Scale it down. Like that. And what I'm going to do is make sure that it's facing the right way. So I'm going to add a decal, and as you can see, the front surface is facing right here. Now add the decal and go to the face and change it to front and see if it's facing the way your pet is facing. For me it's not, so I'm going to rotate it by pressing Ctrl R, and I'm going to select my decal again, and as you can see now it's facing the direction the pet is facing. And I'm going to get rid of my decal, and I'm going to resize this transparent primary part. So just do that. Something like this should do. And I'm going to make sure that it's transparent, and I'm going to rename it to primary. And I'm pretty sure we have some, okay, so we have some welds. What I'm going to do is go to my primary part, and I'm going to add a weld constraint, and I'm going to set part 0 to primary and part 1 to cube, that is to smooth, or whatever your part is. And now go to the next one and duplicate the weld constraint, set the part 0 property to the primary and part 1 to the other part, until you've done the same thing for all of the pets, for all of the parts that are inside the pet. And I'm going to select my dog and change the primary part to the primary part. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to select my fox, and I'm going to do the same thing. So attachment position, and I'm just going to add a primary part, and I'll just do that and I'll be back. Alright, so I've set up the fox too, and what I'm going to do is drag all of these pets inside of the pets folder inside of replicated storage. By the way, Ctrl X to cut, and just right click and paste into inside of the pets folder. And now I'm going to go back to my data module inside of the basic egg. So I'm going to go back here, and I'll just enter my script, and this is going to be in order. So the first one will be the most common one, and the last one will be the rarest pet. So the first one, we're gonna have a table, and it's going to be pet's name, and it's going to be the cat, which is the most common pet, and I change its chance to maybe 50%. And I'm going to have another pet, and this one also make sure to add a comma at the end of this so that it doesn't error. Going to do the same thing here. So make sure that these numbers add up to 100, to 100%. So 50 plus 50 is equal to 100, and then stop. If you have 4 pets, make sure that the total adds up to 100. Now I'm going to set the pet name of this to dog, and the chance will be 20. And the third one, which is the pet name is the fox, the chance, so 50 plus this, 70, okay, so it's going to be 30%. Actually, I'm going to make the dog 30%, so that it's, okay, I'm going to change this to 20%. So these do add up to 100, 50 plus 30 plus 20, that should work. And what I'm going to do next is maybe add pet rarity. So maybe rarity is equal to, and this one is going to be a common pet, so common. And this one is going to be uncommon. And this one is going to be rare. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is try to detect the input. So what I'm going to do is scroll down, go to server script service, main server, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a script and I'm going to call it X or server X. And I'm going to go back to my main server script and I'm going to copy these services. So just copy all of this, paste it here, and we're gonna get rid of what we don't need. So we don't need the player data. We don't need okay, so we do need the shared. We don't need okay, so we do need server modules, pets. We don't need that. I'm just going to leave it actually. And okay, we don't need send pet, and we do need the pet module. Okay, good. And I don't need HTTP service. I'm not going to need data store service, server script service. I'm going to need that server storage. Okay, good. Now what we're gonna do is create a function for, or actually we're gonna loop through all of the eggs. So for underscore comma egg in pairs, eggs get children do. And what I'm going to do is create a variable to these eggs. So local eggs is equal to workspace.eggs. And when we loop through these eggs, what I'm going to do is do egg.proximity prompt dot triggered on connect function player. And what we're gonna do is require basically the data module that we have inside of the egg, and I'm going to do local egg data is equal to and require egg dot data and local price is equal to egg data dot so egg data dot egg price. Local currency is equal to egg data dot egg currency. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is check if let's check if we have a stats folder, because I don't really remember. So we have a stats and the leader stats. Okay, good. So we're gonna check if player dot stats square brackets currency dot value, and make sure to use two number. Sorry, so two number player stats currency dot value is greater or equal than the price. Then what we're gonna do, okay, by the way, what this is doing is basically looping through all of the eggs, and whenever that proximity prompt that we added is triggered, then we're gonna require the eggs data, and we're gonna get the price and the currency, and we are checking if the currency's value is greater or equal to the price. And we are using two number because we are using string values in our stats. So what I'm going to do is check if it's greater or equal to the price, and if it is, then we'll fire a remote event. So I'm going to add a remote inside of here. I'm going to call it open egg or hatch egg. But before we do that, we need to choose a random pet depending on its rarity. So to do that, we need a function for choosing a random pet. So local function choose random pet, and I'm going to take a pet table. And what we're gonna do is local chosen pet is equal to choose random pet, and we're gonna give it the egg data dot, and I'm pretty sure it was called egg pets. And what we're gonna do is local total chance, or actually what I'm going to do is basically, okay, so we need to get a random number from 1 to 100, so local random random number is equal to math.random from 1 to 100. And what we're gonna do is then have a variable called weight, and we're gonna have it set to 0. And I'm going to loop through the egg table, so the pet table. So for I, v in pairs pet table do. And what we're gonna do is do weight plus equal. So we are basically just doing weight is equal to weight plus and the chance of the pet, which is pet table dot chance. Or actually v dot chance, sorry, v dot chance. Let's see. Okay, so v dot chance, yes. Okay, good. And the next thing we need to do is check if the weight is greater or equal than the random number. Then we're gonna return the pet table. So we're gonna return v, and then we're gonna break this. Actually, that should do it. I'm going to have variable up here, local chosen pet is equal to nil, and I'm going to put in chosen pet is equal to v, and I'm going to break this, and in here we're going to return chosen pet, and that should work. Okay, so that should return a chosen pet, and we're going to print the chosen pet. And what I'm going to do is play the game now and see what happens when we press E. Okay, let's view the output. So output, and I'm just going to choose this and press E. And as you can see, it prints the, so it prints the dog. And if I press it again, this time it shows the dog again. If I press it multiple times, okay, so it shows the cat this time, and the cat again, and the cat again. But as you can see, it's kind of hard to get the fox. So I pressed it multiple times, and we still have not gotten the fox. Okay, so we got the fox now after a couple of tries. So we know that this works, and that it chooses a random pet depending on its rarity, on its chance. And what I'm going to do now is fire the remote event. So remotes, do we have variable for remotes? No. Okay, so local remotes is equal to, and replicated storage dot remotes, and I'm going to do remotes dot hatch egg fire client, and we're gonna fire to the player, and we are also going to send the chosen pet. And what I'm also going to do is subtract some money from the player's currency. So player.stats square brackets currency dot value minus equal price. And this time we are not going to use the true number, because for some reason this works without using it. So I'm going to play the game now and see if it will subtract some coins. So I have 1,500 coins. If I just go ahead and view the output, choose a star pet, I'm going to press E. And as you can see, it does take away some coins. And what I'm going to do now is work on the client side now. So we're going to go back to the client. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on UI visibility, and I'm going to add a screen GUI. Oh, what did I just do? I'm going to add a screen GUI, and it's going to be called egg system. And inside of that egg system screen GUI, I'm going to have a viewport frame. I'm going to make sure that UI visibility is turned on. I'm going to disable my main screen GUI, and I'm only going to enable this one, and I'm going to scale this up. Something like that should do. I'm going to position it in the center, and I'm just going to go to auto scale light, unit conversion scale. I'll leave a link to this plugin in the description. You should have it already, but if you don't, I'll leave you a link in the description. I'm going to make sure that the background transparency is set to 1, and then I'm going to enable my main SS, and I'm going to go to the client, and I'm going to add a module script, and we're going to call this module script egg client. And what we're going to do is enter. Okay, we're going to get some services. So local run service is equal to game client get service run service, and we're going to get replicated storage. So we're going to set that to game client get service replicated storage, and I think these are all the services we need. And local x is equal to workspace with child x, and we also need the remotes, which is replicated storage with your child remotes, and we also need the pets. So local pets is equal to replicated storage with child pets. And is that all we need? I think it is. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is function module.hatch egg, and that's going to take the egg name, or the egg name, maybe egg name, and it's also going to take the chosen pet. Now what I forgot to do is go back to my server eggs, and instead of just sending the chosen pet, we're gonna send the egg.name and the chosen pet. And we're gonna go back here, and we'll do local egg model is equal to, and x, find first child, egg name, clone. And I'm pretty sure we have a viewport module. Okay, so it's right here. Okay, so we do have one. Okay. What I'm going to do next is, instead of using that viewport module, I'm going to do something else. That's going to be for the pets. So I'm going to clone the egg mesh. I'm going to change this to egg mesh, not egg model. And when we clone it, what we're going to do is parent it to the viewport frame. So the parent is equal to viewport, or egg viewport. And then we're going to need player service. So local players is equal to game get service players. And local player is equal to players.local player, and local player GUI is equal to player.player with child player GUI, and local egg system SS for screen GUI is equal to player GUI with child egg system. And now what I'm going to do right here is do local viewport, local egg viewport is equal to egg system SS with child viewport frame. And what I'm going to do next is, okay, so we parent it to the viewport, then we're going to create a camera. So we're going to position the egg mesh. So egg mesh dot cframe is equal to cframe.new 0,0,0. So we reset its position, and then we will create a camera. So local camera is equal to instance.new, and we're going to create a camera, and camera.name, or actually .parent, is equal to egg viewport. And before we do anything, sorry, I'm going to go here and do egg viewport on clear all children, and I'm going to do egg viewport size is equal to vector3.new 0,0, oh, what am I doing? Using 2 dot from scale 0,0. And what I'm going to do next is get tween service. Try to make this look nice. So local tween service is equal to game get service tween service. And after that, when we get the camera, what we're gonna do is camera.cframe is equal to, and maybe the egg mesh, or actually cframe.new 0, 0, and -5. So we're gonna move 5 studs away from the egg. Then I'm going to do egg viewport dot current camera is equal to and camera. And what I'm going to do is make sure that this is enabled. And when we do that, we will also make sure to disable all of the other screen GUIs. So for underscore comma the in pairs player GUI colon get children do if the colon is a screen GUI and v is not equal to egg system ss, then v.enabled is equal to false. So we're gonna disable all of the other screen GUIs. And then when we set the current camera, I'm also going to make sure that this is set up like this. When we do that, what we're gonna do is tween service colon create and viewport frame or egg viewport comma tween info.new maybe 0.7 comma size is equal to usem2 dot from scale, and we're gonna go to the size of our viewport frame, and as you can see it's set to 0. Just copy the first number, which is 0.293 comma, and copy the second number, which is the y-axis, and we're gonna play that tween. And then I'm going to do remotes with child hatch egg dot on server event on client event colon connect, and I'm going to do module dot hatch egg, and then I'm going to play the game and see what this does. Okay, I'm going to choose a pet. Go here, hatch this. And nothing happens. Let's see why. Okay, so it does disable the other screen GUIs. But I think it also disables the egg system screen GUI. Let's see. Player GUI, egg system, and I'm going to make sure that. Okay, so enabled, true, and touch this, and it's still enabled. And inside of that viewport frame, we have the camera, the basic egg, and the camera. Okay. So the current camera is set to the camera, and I think I know why this is not working. We should move back a bit more. Let's see. So I'm going to select the move tool. Okay, so we need to move in the other way, so I'm going to enter my egg client, and I'm going to change this to 5 instead of -5, and that might work. So I'm going to choose a random pet, go here, press E, and as you can see that works now. It displays the egg, and as you can see it opens in a weird way. So to fix that, just select your viewport frame, set the anchor point to 0.5, and it will set itself automatically to 0.5, 0.5, and set the position to 0.5, 0, 0.5, 0. And now play the game, and that should look a lot better. And as you can see, that looks pretty good. Now we'll shake the egg using a nice tween. So I'm going to go to my egg client, and what I'm going to do is wait 0.7, wait for this tween to complete. If you have it to 0.5, then wait 0.5, but for me it's 0.7, and we'll create a new tween. So I'm going to think about this, and I'll be back. Okay, so I found a decent way of doing it. What I'm going to do is do a for loop. We're going to start from 1, and we're going to go all the way up to maybe 4. I'm going to, for I is equal to 1, 2, 4 do, and I'm going to do tween service create, and egg viewport, comma tween info dot new. I'm going to put it to 0.3, and I'm going to change the actually enum.isInStyle.sign and enum.isInDirection direction.out. You can mess around with the isInStyle and the isInDirection, and I'm going to change the rotation to 20. So rotation is equal to 20. Column play. So we're gonna play this tween, and we're gonna wait 0.3, and we're gonna paste it in here, and we're gonna change this to -20, and then task.wait another 0.3, and I'm going to play the game and see how this looks. Okay, so it's taking a bit long to load in, but it works now. I'm going to hatch this egg, and as you can see, the egg shakes now. And what I'm going to do is, whenever this loop is over, I'm going to copy this tween, paste it right here, and I'm going to change the rotation to 0 whenever that loop ends. And then, okay, let's see if this is going to work. Oh, okay, so it works, and you can also zoom into the egg if you think the egg looks too small. So you can always change this 5 to maybe 3 to zoom in a bit more, and I think it's going to look better. Oh, that's too much. Maybe 4. Okay, that's good. That's perfect. And what I'm going to do next is scale down the entire egg. So I'm going to do egg view tween service. Actually, I'm going to wait 0.3, and tween service on create, and egg viewport, comma tween info dot new 0.2, comma, and rotation, or actually size, is equal to redeem2 dot from scale 0, comma 0, colon play. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and let's see if that's gonna work. So it spins, and it should scale down. I'm going to make that a bit longer, maybe 0.3. And when it scales down, we need it to scale up immediately, but with an image of the pet. So task.wait 0.3 again. And what I'm going to do is clear. Okay, so egg viewport, can't clear all children again. But this time we'll display the pet. So we'll get the pet model. So local pet model is equal to pet on find first child egg data. Oh, chosen pet dot pet name clone, and pet model dot actually pet model pivots to, and cframe dot new 0, 0, 0, and pet model dot parent is equal to egg viewport. And then I'm going to create a brand new camera, so just copy this, paste it here, and okay, so that should work, I think. And what I'm going to do next is copy this tween right here, paste it here, but make it a bit faster, so 0.4 or maybe 0.5. And let's see if that's gonna work. So we'll hatch this, and it will spin, and then display the pet. But as you can see, it looks a bit weird. So to fix that, what we're gonna do is change the camera C-frame to the pet model.primary parts .C-frame plus vector3.new 0, 0, 5, or maybe minus 5. Let's see if that's gonna work. So it shows the egg, rotates it, and nothing happens. Right. And I think that is because we need to change this to a 5, not minus 5. And I think, okay. Does it show the back of the pet? I'm not sure, so what I'm going to do is go to the pet. Actually, yeah, I'm just going to play the game. Do it again. And it shows the back of the pet. Okay, I think we can do something else. We can change it to cframe.new. Or actually, we can change it to cframe.new 0, 0, 4. I'm going to multiply that by cframe.angle 0, 0, actually 0, math.rad 180, 0. Let's see if that's going to work. Oh, we need to change this to minus 5, minus 4 this time. And let's see if this is gonna work. And it finally works, but I think we need to zoom in a bit more on the pet. So I'm going to change this to minus 3.5 and minus 3.3, and hopefully that will look good. Hatch the egg, wait for it to spin, and it shows the dog. Great. Okay, so then we need to display the name of the dog. So what I'm going to do is, inside of the viewport frame, I'm going to add a text label, and I'm going to set its size to 1, 0, 0.3, 0, or 0.2, 0. Background transparency 1. Font Fredoka 1. Text scale property true. Text color white. I'm also going to get rid of this to see what I'm doing, and I'm going to add a UI corner, UI stroke. I'm going to change this to something like that, and I'm going to change the text to, for example, cat, and maybe it should be a bit smaller, so the size 0.1, or maybe 0.114. That looks perfect. And I'm going to change the position to 1.2, or actually maybe that's a bit, okay, maybe 1, or even okay, so I think this should be something like 0.7. Or maybe I can just move it down a bit more. And I'm going to rename this to name label. And then I'm going to have another one for the rarity. So I'm going to name this to rarity label. And I'm going to make sure that both of them are invisible. And I'm going to go back here to the X client. And what I'm going to do is just do egg viewport dot name label dot text is equal to, and chosen pet dot pet name, and egg viewport dot name label dot visible is equal to true. And then I'm going to do egg viewport dot rarity label dot text is equal to chosen pet dot chance, maybe, and dot percentage percentage sign. And maybe we can, okay, we can put, before we do that, we're gonna do chosen pet dot rarity. Let's see if that's how it's set up. So data and rarity, okay, rarity dot, and we're gonna put a space and dot, or maybe, okay, maybe we're gonna put a sign like that, space, and the chance, okay, this dot chosen pet dot chance dot that, and a closing bracket. So just copy this, make sure to add a space in here. It's kind of confusing, but it works. And now egg viewport dot rarity label dot visible is equal to true. And now we're gonna see if this works. So I'm going to hatch this, and again it rotates, scales down, shows the cat, but it does not display that. So, oh, I know why. It's because we used clear all children, which we shouldn't do. So instead of doing that, I'm going to loop through for underscore comma v in pairs egg viewport colon get children do if v colon is a camera or v colon is a base part or v colon is a model, then v colon destroy. Just copy that, and whenever you do colon clear all children for the egg viewport, paste that in, and that should work now. And again, rotates, scales down, scales up, nothing happens again. This is getting annoying. Okay, so name label is not a valid member of that. Okay. Are we doing clear all children somewhere else? Nope. Did I spell this correctly? Yes, I did. Oh, I didn't. Okay. Let's make sure that I spelled rarity label correctly. And yes, I did. And let's see if this is gonna work now. So hatch spins, and it displays the rarity and that. Okay, so we know that this works, and what I'm going to do next is just scale this down again. So just copy this tween that scales down the viewport frame, and just do task.wait, maybe 1 second or maybe 1.5, and just do that. And then we're gonna wait 0.3, and we're gonna copy both of these. We're gonna copy this, paste it here, and change this to false, and then copy this and change it to false again. And I'm also going to have a variable up here called is hatching, and we're gonna have it set to false. And whenever we do this, we're gonna do is hatching is equals true. And after all of that, that's the way, don't wait 1 second, and it's hatching. It will be equal to false again. And what I'm going to do in here is play the game again and see if this is going to work. And if we can't hatch the egg 2 times. So we'll do that. Display everything, go away. And if I do it again, it will work again. So we have a fully working egg system, but we just need to add a cooldown from the server. Let's see if I can do that. I'm going to go to my server eggs, and I'm going to have a table local player hatch cooldowns or debounce is equal to an empty table. And what I'm going to do is in here I'm going to check if not player hatch debounce square brackets player, then player hatch debounce square brackets player is equal to true, and just copy all of this, paste it in here. Wait maybe 7 seconds for the entire hatching animation and stuff, and just copy this, paste it here, and change that to nil or false. And what I'm going to do is player removing player removing connect function, and what I'm going to do is get the player and check if player hatch debounces square brackets player, then player hatch debounce square brackets player is equal to nil. And to play the game one last time, hopefully, and I'm going to hatch the egg, and it opens, says that, and let's see if I can spam it, and no I can't, so I'm spamming it right now, and it will not work until that happens. Okay, good. And what I'm going to do is go back to my egg client and just get rid of this is hatching variable. Just get rid of it. Okay, so a quick thing that I forgot to do is to go back to my eggs client, and I'm going to basically copy this for loop right here, paste it right here, and change it to true. And go back to your main SS and make sure that it's enabled. And I think this is going to be it for today's tutorial. If this helped, make sure to subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!